These are adults, and they're destroying our country.
I came across this brilliant edit of Fox News, and I have to share this with you. This was done by The Daily Show, to my surprise. Have not really watched the show since Jon Stewart left, but this is a brilliant edit, editing together Fox News' coverage of Black Lives Matter protests with coverage of the January 6th riot. So you're going to see Fox News commenting as if they're commenting on the riot, when in reality, they're talking about BLM protesters. But it shows you just how much Fox News has downplayed the Capitol riot, because you have not seen any comments like this about that riot. But check this out.
This kind of mob-like behavior has got to stop before somebody gets hurt. Violence, intimidation, unacceptable in this country.
It's not a protest. These aren't children. These are adults, and they're destroying our country.
I think what is so jarring to so many Americans right now is just the fact that there's so much lawlessness. Why isn't anybody stopping the looting and the vandalism and the destruction of private and public property?
That giant lie handicapped the police, so they couldn't do a damn thing to stop the riots without being accused of attacking mostly peaceful protesters. These include people who threw projectiles at cops,
screaming the most disgusting things in their faces, an inch away from their face.
Fuck you, police!
Someone with long hair with a flag hitting someone else. You know, all of this violence.
How is rioting, throwing things at police officers, how does this solve anything?
It isn't just an attack on police. Think about it. It's an attack on the rule of law, on civilization itself.
I don't understand the rioting, the looting. I understand peaceful protests, and I think most people do. But when it comes to all this violence, people throwing things at each other, enough is enough.
Well, they're willing to create violence and riots just to win an election.
And they're not taking this White House. We're going to fight like hell, I'll tell you right now.
That's pretty scary.
Amazing. I absolutely love that. I'm amazed it took a year for someone to think this up, but credit to the editors at The Daily Show for thinking to do this. It really shows you just how much Fox News has downplayed the riot at the Capitol. Meanwhile, how they have also overdone their coverage of Black Lives Matter protests, which been nowhere near what happened at the Capitol 6 riot. I mean, can you imagine if instead of right-wing extremists at that riot, it was Black Lives Matter protesters? What do you think the reaction would be from Fox News? So this gives you a window into just how horrible that network is and how they have completely downplayed right-wing violence in general. But also, it's not just Fox News. It's also the other networks that have also not taken this as seriously as they should. Now, yes, they have covered this more objectively than Fox News, clearly, but still, they are bringing on lawmakers that were in support of Trump's lies about the election. So Matt Negrin here, who is a great follow him on Twitter. He often calls out the media, tweets out here, in the year since January 6th, when you were told history will remember the extremists who planned a terrorist attack, every news network has gone out of its way to help those Republicans rehabilitate their image and promise that they won't ask questions about their role in it. And he shows some examples here, including Steve Scalise, Ted Cruz, Rick Scott, and Lindsey Graham, all Republican lawmakers. And let me show you their involvement in all of this, in pushing this lie. So Steve Scalise's election denial is emblematic of the GOP's dangerous path. So he has been pushing the same lies that Trump has about the election. Senators Ted Cruz and John Cornyn vote against commission to investigate January insurrection. So that's Cruz there. Rick Scott, Marco Rubio, same thing. And Lindsey Graham, Tim Scott, same thing. And by the way, it isn't just them. It's the vast majority of Republicans. Headline from Rolling Stone here: Republicans promised to banish January 6 insurrectionists. A year later, they've purged January 6 critics. This is the Republican Party. There was only 6 Republican senators that voted for the commission. The rest of them all voted against it. It shows you what the party has now become. This is a fascist party. They are openly in support of reversing the results of the election. They have no interest in looking into the people that were involved in it, who was behind it, because Trump is a big piece of that, and Trump is a big piece of their support. If they lose Trump, they lose the base. This continues to be, I think, the most serious issue that is directly apart from obvious things like COVID and climate change, the most serious political issue that's impacting Americans. You have here a fascistic Republican Party a base that 70% think the election was stolen from Trump. 70% of their voters think that, if not more. But that's what the party has now become. This is why this is a serious issue. Right-wing violence, fascist violence is the most serious political issue right now in America. It is the biggest threat. And any downplaying of what happened that day or any attempt to rehabilitate Republican lawmakers that enabled it is just playing right into their hands. And next time, they'll be successful.